Hey gang, welcome back to the Tuesday Tip. Today we're going to be talking about 200s and how to pace a 200 long course compared to how we pace a short course. Now when you're swimming a 200 short course, in general you can be a little bit more aggressive, especially with your legs. And when we're talking about long course, we're going to talk about how we are generally going to be a little bit more cautious in the first half of our race. We're going to use the first 100 to build more than just get after it. So let's talk about some fine details really quickly. First of all, what we want to avoid more than anything else is going to be the mentality of fly and die, as some people will call it, right? Just going out and sprinting and just kind of shrugging and seeing what happens on the second 100. You can try that. Some people like to swim their 200s really aggressively. For most mere mortals, sprinting your 200s is going to end up in a pretty bad time, no matter what stroke you're doing. What we typically want to do to approach a 200 is we want to usually follow the +2 on the second 50 idea, where the first 50 is only about 2 seconds faster than the second 50. And then the third and fourth 50s basically maintain that same pace. So in theory, a very well-swum 200 would be going out in about a 30 on the first 50, and then 32s on the subsequent 50s after that. If you find that you took your race out in a 30, and then you went 37, and then 38 and 39, then we probably took it out a little bit too hard. Whereas if you take your race out in a 30, and then you go 32, but then you go 32 and then 29 at the end, okay, then we probably could have started a little bit more aggressively, okay? So typically this is our sweet spot, going up about 2 seconds and then staying there, which means that your two 100s are only gonna be about 2 to 3 seconds apart, maybe 4 seconds at the upper edge, okay? And that goes for most of our strokes, but especially free and back. Usually in breaststroke and fly, we might see just a little bit more of a spread, okay? If we're talking specifically about freestyle and backstroke, by the way, welcome Charlie to the Tuesday Tip for the first time. He's quiet today. We're talking freestyle and backstroke. We like the idea of being strong but relaxed early on. Hi, Coach Chris. Strong but relaxed. Often people will say smooth. Smooth is okay as long as smooth doesn't mean slow, right? We just don't want to be wasting our energy by just going a little bit too crazy on the first 50 meters, okay? Strong but relaxed, and then build your legs in as the race goes along. I like to use the third 50 in particular as our cue for now it's time to start kicking really hard. And if we're going to specify about backstroke, we need to make sure that our feet are on the surface the whole race, but we start to really kick hard on the second half, and we keep our tempo going very strong. With breaststroke, we want to really concern ourselves with building tempo by 50. Your tempo should be at its slowest on the first 50 of the race and should increase each 50 thereafter. So on the fourth 50, your tempo should look pretty similar to somebody who's swimming a 100 breaststroke. And on the first 50, it should look very long and under control. And then butterfly, that word I just used, control, is kind of the name of the game. You can't swim a 200 butterfly like a 100 butterfly and expect to have a whole lot of success. You can expect really to have a whole lot of pain if you do that, right? So in a 200 butterfly, we use that first 100 just to try and stay in rhythm and to maybe get a little bit of a build into that halfway mark. But especially on your first 50, we want to mostly concern ourselves with pressing the chest forward, using our hips, using that chest press, using some tempo, some good rhythm, just to sort of stay in our stroke, keep some contact with the other swimmers in our heat. But once we get to the third 50, start to really press, and once again, bring the legs in as we start to get into that second half. Use that second kick to help keep us going forward during our breaths. 200 IM, I guess, gets an honorable mention because I didn't put it up here, but a 200 IM is similar to short course where we're still trying to think of it as 450s rather than just one big block of 200. Split that race up into your 50s and think about really building through each stroke into a fast turn so that we can explode off that wall with some energy and then once again get into a nice build for the next stroke. And once you get to freestyle, we're just sprinting that thing home with basically whatever juice we got left. Cool? But that's about it. 200s can sometimes be really difficult to wrap our heads around. Each person might have a slightly different specific thing to focus on to hit their pace in just the right way. I know that the most successful 200s that I've seen tend to really perk up sometime in the middle of the race. For some people, it's even that fourth 50 where they start to change something dramatically. But experiment with what works for you and really try hard to see if you can work on not getting lost in the middle of the race, but keep shifting through the gears as the race goes on and have something new to focus on as you go. But that's about it. Next week we're going to talk about 50s in a long course meter pool, which might not sound like there's too much to think about, but stick around and maybe you'll be surprised. And we'll see you then. Take care.